your best pal Pinkie Pie is here! Oh, I didn't keep you waiting, did I? I mean, it has been a few days since we defeated that mini Discord, but that just gave you guys more time to talk to Fluttershy and Dashy and Rarity and Applejacky. What? It's been almost 3 weeks? Huh. Guess that explains where all my balloons went. Well, all the others must have told you about how Discord made a lot of ponies hurt inside, so I've been throwing the longest party ever to help them feel better. My parties never fail to cheer someone up. Except Gilda, but she was a big meanie who didn't know how to laugh at herself, so she doesn't count. Has the party been draining Sugar Cube Corner's reserves? Psh, no way! Well, maybe a little, but Mr. and Mrs. Cake don't mind, and I've been pitching in plenty when I'm not out there partying too. Oh, I did take a little bit of a break for Nightmare Night, but that's just because it's silly to be throwing a Pinkie party and a town party at the same time, and I got lots of candy out of it too. It's such a pity that Discord turned out to be such a bully. He had so many fun ideas, like chocolate rain or those cotton candy clouds, or those soapy roads that make you slip around everywhere. That was so cool! And I think Big Mac was happier as a dog. But he has to ruin it by making us all gray and mean. Well, it hasn't affected me at all. Nope, not in the least. I mean, I was gray. Can you imagine me being gray? I guess you don't have to, because you saw it too, right? But come on, my name is Pinkie Pie, not Grey Pie. Ooh, maybe I should ask the Pegasi to make it rain chocolate milk on my next birthday. I asked Twilight if we could have it all the time, but she said the crops wouldn't like that. And that includes wheat, which means no flour, which means no cupcakes, and nope, I can't hear you, la 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 la! Sorry, I just really can't stand that dumb horror story. Whoever wrote that was even more of a mini pants than Discord. Sleep? What's a sleep? Oh, right! I haven't really had time for that with all the partying and baking and helping the cakes and partying, but it's okay. I found this great stuff called coffee. It tastes kind of yucky, but if I just add in a few cups of sugar, it's enough to keep me awake for ages. I don't really remember the first time I tried it, though. It was a long time ago. I woke up with iron chains tying me to my bed, and Mrs. Cake had to let me out. Twilight said I was trying to be in so many places at once I was damaging the space-time continuity, but that's just silly. I only did that once. It was for a super good reason, though. Anyway, a whole lot's been going on these past few day weeks. I've been hearing everything from everyone at my parties. Twilight said she's worried that me partying like this is an evasion tactic I'm using to not have to think about how Discord made me all grumpy and sad because he told me my friends weren't really my friends. But that's just so silly. It just makes me want to laugh, really. I can't believe I let him trick me like that. Oh, the Union Crusaders had to do an extra essay on Discord's statue because they wrestled in front of it. But when they finally turned it in, Miss Shirley was so glad to see them so diligent, she started crying in front of the entire class and let them all go home early. Wasn't that nice of her? For some reason, Apple Bloom said she thought she was going to get in trouble for that. Like that time Apple Bloom left Mini Jack all alone in the Everfree Forest to go chase after Zecora. Guess after Royale took that magic anti-poison joke bath, Apple Bloom got a hard spanking from Granny Smith till her butt was as red as her mane. Who would have thought leaving your doll-sized sister in the middle of a dangerous predator-filled forest all by herself could get you into trouble? Tilly keeps giving out these boring lectures about how she thinks Discord was trying to prove to Celestia that friendship couldn't stand up to adversity, because why else would he not just turn us into statues of pudding or something? And she's been asked by the doctors at that one hospital, the one some very mean ponies think I belong in, to give this one Pegasus gossamer wings. But that's silly, right? Why would a Pegasus need wings? Yep, I've still got plenty to laugh about. No spooky nightmares in this pony's head. What, huh? You're wondering if I'm scared of parties now because of what Discord did in that balloon garden? Nah, that would be like Rarity being scared of diamonds, or Dashy only pretending that Cloud was Cloudsdale, or Fluttershy having split personalities now, or Applejack being invited to look into the heart of the cosmos and become one with her element. What's that look for? Of course I read the previous chapters. There's no way in heck I'm in any kind of denial. I've never even been to Pony Egypt, except for that one time with the oatmeal and... What was that sound I just made? Oh right, a yawn! Oopsies, that means it's time to re-up on my coffee. I mellow out. No problem. I've got soda and pixie sticks, right? Nope, out of those too. No problem. I'll just trot on over to the kitchen and get some more. Gosh, my eyes feel kind of heavy. I'll just close them for a minute. I can. And you're sure you've thrown out all the coffee? Twilight Sparkle called. Every last drop, Twilight, Applejack said. And I double-checked all her normal and not-so-normal hiding places, called Rainbow Dash. And I found that copy of 100 Pranks for Silly Fillies I loaned her last month. Oh, you mean the one you borrowed 4 months ago? Twilight said flatly. I was gonna return it, eventually. What's a straight arrow like you doing with a book like that anyway? It's a library book, Rainbow, it came with the library! Apparently it was a favorite of the princesses. Applejack snorted, completely unsurprised. Well, at least Pinkie dear can finally get some sleep, Rarity said, trotting in from the kitchen. My word, the cakes were practically begging us to get her to go to bed. I still say we should have just tied her to the bed till she conked herself out. We tried that, remember? She slipped out of them in 8.4 seconds, Twilight reminded them. How in tarnation did you come up with 8.4 seconds? I figured it wasn't going to work from the start and used a stopwatch spell. Rainbow Dash rolled her eyes. Ugh, whatever. Mission accomplished then, right? Pinkie's finally asleep. Rarity snorted. Sure, if you call snoring on our hooves in the middle of a party sleeping. We are civilized ponies here. Beside them, Pinkie Pie mumbled in her sleep. Chocolate hazelnut, strawberries peppercorn, hazel chocolate bourbon, vanilla caramel corn, banana pecan toffee. Yes, we do have those ice cream flavors. Find her a gallon. I know a lot of bronies didn't like the live stage performance. Oh, hey, Princess Luna, how are you? Fluttershy giggled, finally speaking up through the chaos. I'll get her to bed, and make sure she stays there. She gently lifted the sleeping mare. Twilight nodded gratefully, then turned to the rest of the crowd. Alright, every pony, party's over. Thank you all for coming. We hope you enjoyed yourselves, and Princess Luna willing, we all hope you have sweet dreams tonight. The ponies began to shuffle out. The sun was still a few minutes from setting, but no pony seemed too unhappy at the early end. In fact, some seemed rather relieved. Even Gummy, normally about as expressive as Pinkie was relaxing, managed a look of relief as he scurried off to his own bed. The trio of flower ponies known as Lily, Roseluck, and Daisy led their sometimes friend Berry Punch away from the punch bowls. She hadn't been trying to drown her sorrows this time. It had been a sort of therapy to recover from Discord cursing everything she drank to taste like battery acid. It was progress. She'd at least been convinced that her sneezes would no longer turn every pony around her into cardboard cutouts. The flower ponies, for the record, had only confided their curses to each other and to the psychologist they were seeing as a group. Fluttershy's trip upstairs was accompanied by Pinkie's sleepy rambling, only slightly less coherent than her usual babble. Twilight, do you want socks for your birthday? You used to like them a whole super lot. Oh, I'll just ask Cream Dash to make them. She always dresses in style. That's all very nice, Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy giggled softly. She ignored the derisive snort that echoed in her head. Back downstairs, Dash's ears flattened. There goes that chance. Applejack put her hoof on her shoulder and said, just quietly enough that the others couldn't hear, You know, you really don't need to tell the others all at once. I know it's painful, but I know they'd have already forgiven you if you just told them what Discord did. Dash shot her a glare. I guess I should tell Cloudsdale too, huh, Miss Honesty? Applejack glared right back. You're not telling Cloudsdale is protecting them. You're not telling your friends is hurting yourself. You need to see for yourself that none of us blame you. Dash groaned. Fine, I'll tell everybody in the morning, whether we're all together or not. I promise. Atta girl. Applejack grinned. Then she backed away and looked at the others. Well, good night, y'all. I've got a little sister with a whole lot of nightmares to scare off. Dash gave her friend a curious look as she made her way towards the door. Ever since she'd come back from that mysterious visit with the princesses, she'd been calmer, almost. More accepting of things. She was still Applejack, but it was like some core part of what had made her had settled. Rarity sniffed. I shall be going now, too. I have some personal projects of mine that I need to check up on before bed. Oh, I should probably tell you guys that I won't be in Ponyville for a day or two, Twilight said. I finally got everything in order, and I've already delayed more than I should have. Dash startled, a mix of disappointment and relief flashed in her face. Oh, what's the occasion, Twilight? Rarity tilted her head. Twilight took a second to find the right words. There's a unicorn in Hoofington that Applejack found out about, who Discord took a special interest in like the rest of us, though I'm not really sure why. She still hasn't recovered yet, so AJ asked me to go there myself and see if there's anything I can do. Oh, the poor dear! However did Applejack find out? She wouldn't say, just that she found out during her visit with the princesses. Twilight hoped Rarity didn't press for more details, like who exactly this unicorn was. She wasn't sure her friends would appreciate her going to this much effort for her. Can't you wait until morning? Get a good night's sleep and everything? Dash asked desperately, unusually off balance. Sorry, Rainbow, but I can't. I feel bad enough for delaying it as much as I have. Dash slumped a little. Maybe it's better this way. More time to work up the courage. More time to work out what to say. Back upstairs, Fluttershy finally made it up to Pinkie's bedroom, laying her gently on the bed. As per Twilight's instructions, she'd already done the sweep of the room, twice, to clear out Pinkie's mini candy stashes. Pinkie needed sleep, whether she liked it or not, and her friends were determined to make sure she got it. You know, Rarity wasn't always white, Pinkie mumbled. She used to be a lot more like me, all pink and rainbowy, and she liked roller skates a lot. Fluttershy shook her head fondly. Humming softly, she tucked the covers neatly around Pinkie. The cakes had promised to take turns watching her, but Fluttershy had volunteered for the first shift. She wondered what Pinkie was dreaming about that caused her to babble like this. Oh, look, Gummy! A pretty rainbow! You know what this calls for? Pinkie Pie's eyes snapped open, and she shot up in bed with forelegs spread wide. A party! Pinkie blinked around the impression of a pie pan left on her face. Or maybe I should catch up on my sleep first. She fell back into bed with her tongue lolling out. Cruel! Fluttershy whisper shouted. She threw a look towards the mirror hanging by Pinkie's doorway. It's Fluttercruel! The reflection snapped, agitated. I didn't ask for a name like yours, but it's mine and I'm going to keep it. That's not the point, Fluttershy scolded. How could you do that to Pinkie Pie? Please. Her reflections poised lost its daintiness in favor of more cat-like languor. Let's be real, Flutterface. If I hadn't stopped her, she'd have just bounced right back downstairs and kept on partying till she dropped dead. And she'd have dragged in every pony she laid eyes on with her. Isn't that exactly what your friend's whole plan was about? Making sure the walking sugar bomb got some rest for once? Our friends, Fluttercruel. And yes, I know, but did you really have to be so harsh about it? Oh, come on. You know she didn't feel a thing with that thick skull of hers. I would have hit her with a stool, but the pan was closer. And just because I have all your memories doesn't make your friends my friends. Fluttershy turned away from the mirror and closed her eyes for a moment, thinking. In spite of Fluttercruel's promise to take control of Fluttershy's life, she hadn't been able to do more than brief flashes here and there. Hitting Pinkie had been her biggest act of defiance since Discord's defeat. Fluttershy could tell Cruel wanted to trip her friends and laugh in their faces, or sneer about how impotent they all were, but holding her back all those times had been trivial. How did she manage to take control that time? Fluttershy would have loved to argue that she could have simply sung Pinkie Pie back to sleep, or used a stare if it really came to it. But she knew deep down that Pinkie was far too stubborn to be lulled by Fluttershy's gentle singing, and Fluttershy could never bear to use the stare on one of her friends. Much as she didn't like the methods, Cruel had indeed offered the easiest solution, and so she dropped the topic. Instead, I was hoping to introduce you to Pinkie Pie first. I think she'd understand the most of any pony. Her reflection's forelegs crossed. As if I need any of your friends. Now that Gilda chick, she's not the brightest bulb in the box, but dang would she fun to hang around with. Instead of cowering at the idea like Cruel was hoping she would, Fluttershy tilted her head and said, in an evil, thoughtful tone, I can see how you two would get along. Both of you feel the need to lash out because you don't know how to relate to those around you, so it's your only real means of expressing yourself. Neither of you want to admit— her face contorted into a snarl. Shut up, shut up, shut up! I don't want to hear it! You don't know anything about me, so stop spewing dragon shit! Fluttershy blinked, then frowned. Language, young lady. We're going to have to clean that mouth out. You wouldn't! The barest hint of mischief in her eyes, Fluttershy stood up, pushed Pinkie's tongue back inside her mouth to keep it from drying out, gave her a nuzzle, and made her way to the bathroom, humming gently all the while. Pinkie Pie looked around. A thick mist covered the landscape, showing only a few paper lanterns hanging from streamers. Pinkie couldn't tell what she was standing on, but she didn't really care. After trotting in circles for a few seconds, she gasped. Oh, a dream sequence! I've always wanted one of those! Keep waiting, said her own voice, sullen and sarcastic. Pinkie whipped around and started galloping towards the source. Hi, Pinkamina! Sitting on one of Sugar Cube Corner's stools with another Pinkie Pie, one with a flat mane and darker tones, though nothing like her Discord self's harsh gray. She had her hooves crossed over her chest and a sour look on her face. Behind her, a tattered old barn stood alone in the fog. Pinkie Pie jumped to hug and tackle her other self, only to squish flat against the thick pane of glass separating them. Pinkamina just snorted. Wish I could say it was a pleasure. Pinkie peeled herself off the barrier and started trotting back and forth, never taking her eyes off her other self. Oh, this is so cool! I can't remember the last time we got to talk like this. Are we gonna have a big fight scene like in Naruto reenacting the famous battle between Master Jiraiya and the 6 Paths of Disharmony? Can Madame Lafara be the Alicorn Path? No, that scene got scrapped. Aww, Pinkie pouted. Pinkamina shook her head. Look, as much as I'm just thrilled that you're finally willing to talk to me or whatever, we got more pressing matters. Pinkie blinked and tilted her head, the picture of innocence. Oh, really? What's up? Pinkamina tapped a hoof against the glass wall. I know you remember what happened in that maze, even if you're suppressing it. I remember it, so you do too. When Discord convinced you your friends were laughing at you and not with you, you realize a few things. More than just thinking the whole world was your enemy. Oh, that? Psh, that's over and done with, Pinkie Pie laughed. The fly spell reminded me of how much fun I've had with my friends, and that mean old Discord was just playing a mean prank on me. Tell me, Pinkie, why do you think you were the one who turned into a grump? Huh? Pinkie Pie tilted her head. Pinkamina growled in frustration. Every time you've not wanted to face reality, you pulled me out of my nice, peaceful sleep and forced me into the driver's seat, so I had to deal with it until it's safe for you to come back and play. I woke up when Discord began playing with you, but it couldn't take control. For the first time in years, you were the one being forced to deal with your own issues. Pinkie looked stunned, and just a little apologetic. In an oddly subdued, polite tone. Okay, I'm sorry. But, why are you still here? Shouldn't you have gone back to bed? It's not like I don't want to, Pinkie, but there are still things you haven't dealt with. Things you still have to face, even if you don't want to. She got off the stool and rested both hooves on the barrier, leaning her forehead against it gently. Why, Pinkie? Why do you have to do this to me? I get to remember all the happy times, but I can only ever experience the bad ones. And the moment things become wonderful again, I'm put back to sleep. She blinked back tears. Please, Pinkie, either let me sleep for good or take me back. Pinkie Pie took several steps back, as though Pinkamina might shatter the barrier at any moment. I can't. I don't want to think about those things. If I'm happy, then it makes my friends unhappy. And I don't want my friends to be unhappy. Aren't they my friends too? Pinkamena whispered. She shook her head and forced the heartbreak from her face. There was a bigger problem at play right now. Pinkie Pie, when Discord made you angry, you realized that the price for always having fun in games is that whenever we try to be serious, we're ignored. It's just like Twilight said when she reported her lesson from the Paris Bright incident to Princess Celestia. Sure, a lot of what Discord made us think was just paranoia. The cakes love us like their own foal, and our friends threw us that surprise party because they love us. And they know we love surprises. The Paris Bright incident was partially our fault for not stopping to explain what made them so dangerous. But not everything was a lie. Our fun in games only made the situation with the cow ponies and the buffalo worse. We really didn't have many meaningful friendships until Twilight came, because nobody took us seriously before then. Pinkie Pie, we invented a muscle-powered flying machine, but because we came up with it, nobody sees it as anything but a toy. We could have been a great inventor. We have creativity coming out of our ears. You do? Pinkie raised a hoof to bat at her ears until she caught Pinkamena's flat expression. Oh, you meant as one of those expressions. We could have been a lot of things. So could any pony. Applejack was almost a fancy business pony, Rarity was almost a rock farmer, and Dashie almost joined Nightmare Moon. And we were almost at the point, Pinkie, is that as much as we love fun in games, whenever we have something serious to say, we want to be taken seriously, same as any pony. But the way we are makes nearly every pony think we can't be serious. You realized that when Discord tortured you, but as soon as Twilight woke you up, you dumped it on me and went right back to partying. But I'm not going back to sleep, because it's still there. And Pinkie, really, look at us. What about us? We aren't well. A pony's mind isn't meant to be divided like this. You broke me off from yourself and left me here. You're incomplete. Please, Pinkie, just take me back. There was a very real hint of desperation in Pinkamena's voice. Pinkie shook her head slowly. She whispered, I can't. Pinkie Pie, the more you ignore a problem, the worse it gets. And you're so used to just breaking off pieces of yourself you don't want to deal with, you can't face the fact that the damage Discord caused wasn't all fixed with the wave of Twilight's horn. You just push it aside, same as every other emotion you didn't like. But I've been awake for 3 weeks now, Pinkie, aware but unable to do anything. I think you must have known deep down, and just kept pushing it off so you wouldn't have to face me. For an instant, Pinkie's face was frozen in something like fear. And a sort of switch flipped, and she grinned so wide it was a wonder her head didn't fall off. Oh, that's so silly! Silly Pinkamena! I've been partying all day and night all this time because Discord hurt a lot of ponies on the inside, and my parties helped them feel better! Then why did you refuse to take a nap when Mrs. Cake Pinkie swore she'd keep the festivities going while you slept? Like, duh! Everybody knows I'm the best at parties, and Ponyville deserves the best party around right now! And why did you ignore Twilight when she told you drinking that much coffee wasn't good for you? Oh, I figured she was just wrong, like she was wrong about our Pinkie sense being made up. And you didn't stop to wonder at all why your friends were so desperate to get you to sleep that they tied you to a bed? I thought they were just playing a game. Pinkie, be serious! Pinkie Pie frowned and crossed her hooves. I am completely serious. About parties! Anything else isn't worth being serious about. Those things mean feeling angry, sad, or scared, and those are bad feelings. Why would I want to feel those? And you, why do you want me to take you back so badly anyway? You're just a mean grumpy pants. You're as bad as me when Discord made me think laughing was bad and mean. It isn't. It isn't. Why don't you just go play with Rocky, Mr. Turnip, Madame LaFlower, and Sir Lancelot? What's so important that you want us to be together anyway? A tear leaked from Pinkamena's eye. She whispered something. Pinkie had to lean in closer and ask her to repeat herself. I want to sing. Pinkie Pie shot away from the glass like it was poison, looking absolutely terrified of her other self now. Pinkamena was just supposed to feel angry and sad. She wasn't supposed to want anything. What right did she have? I won't let you, Pinkie swore. She felt strange somehow, almost ill. A strange wrongness churned through her, like a bubbling bowl of too hot soup. You were supposed to disappear when I got my Kimi mark. My songs are meant to make ponies happy. I won't let you sing sad or mean your scary songs. Pinkamena looked alarmed now. Pinkie, stop! With this divider between us, I can't take your anger. I haven't been able to take what you experienced while you were tainted by Discord yet. Calm down! Pinkie's head spun. 1,000 thoughts and feelings wove through her mind, a bubbling flurry of some horrible, foreign emotion. She didn't care. Calm down, calm down, calm down! Calm down, Pinkamena. We'll throw another party soon, Pinkamena. You need to go turn out the rocks, Pinkamena. You'll understand when you're older, Pinkamena. I cut you out of me because I hate you! A wave of nausea pulsed through her, sick and hot, bringing her to her knees. Something crawled its way up her throat, forcing her to vomit a massive, dark, squirming shadow onto the ground. Pinkie could only watch in horror as the mass grew and grew, drawing in all the hurt and anger she denied herself all this time, giving itself a shape, a body. Pinkie, whispered Pinkamena. What have you done?
The shadow took the form it knew best, one born of rage and bitterness, and Pinkie was left staring into her own gray, scowling face.
Oh, Pinkie laughed awkwardly. Are you like the, residue of Disorder's evil magic that Twilight didn't clear away yet, and all I have to do is beat you to be able to use that magic for good and make it rain chocolate milk? Her cheerful, innocent tone did little to hide the terror in her eyes.
Pinkie, that thing, she didn't come from Discord. She came from us. It was a miracle Pinkie managed to keep her tone as light as it was, even with her knees knocking.
Don't be silly, there's no way she came from me. I mean, look at that frown.
The gray Pinkie's lips twisted upwards to expose gnashing teeth.
That's much better.
Her eyes shrank to pinpricks.
More.
Pinkie didn't understand where all this fear was coming from. Angry Pie looked friendly enough with that grin on her face, didn't she?
More parties? Don't worry, I'll wake up soon, and we can get back to partying in no time.
She forced down the urge to flee.
I want more, the gray mare said.
I want more. More of us.
Oh, is that all? Well, just give me a bit to imagine other versions of me, and I'm sure I can fix that, Pinkie said.
Problem solved, right? Why couldn't she get herself to relax? The gray mare kept muttering that she didn't even hear her. Always pent up, always sealed away. Always buried, always repressed. But now I finally have enough ego of my own.
Hey, Nita always has the answer I don't like. What's she talking about? I told you, Pinkie, we're sick. We have been for a long time, and not for the reasons ponies keep thinking we are. Remember what Pa said? There are types of stones where if you break it once, it's easy to break the rest. Where are those stones? When you broke me off from you, you left cracks in yourself. And one of them's just broken loose on her own. Oh, really? What part?
I'm standing right here, you know, growled the gray mare. And what I am is angry.
I know what every pony really thinks of me. All the proof we've ignored, all the lies we told ourselves. And I hate it! I hate the family who wouldn't change themselves for me. I hate the new family who treats me like a child. And I hate how every pony thinks I'm crazy just because I think differently from them. Hate! Hate! Hate!
Her last words sent a shockwave across the landscape, knocking Pinkie Pie on her rump. The gray mare, Angry Pie, took a few hoof steps back, looking at her brighter self in disgust. It's time for us to finally be whole. Angry Pie turned and ran at the glass wall. The pink ponies expected it to shatter, or for her to leap over it, but she simply passed through as if it were nothing. Pinkie made to brace herself, but she needn't have bothered. Angry Pie's target was the abandoned barn behind her. With super equine strength, she tore the shack off its foundation, revealing 4 ponies within. An earth pony stallion with a bucket of turnips on his rump, another with a pile of rocks, a unicorn with a link key mark, and a pegasus with a sack of flour. They raised their heads slowly, confused, just waking from the dreamless sleep that had been denied Pinkimina. Angry Pie didn't wait for them to wake up properly. She leapt on Mr. Turnip and twisted his neck, killing him instantly. His form turned to dust, and she inhaled it greedily.
Turnip!
Madame the Flower gasped.
No, leave them alone!
Pinkimina screamed, rushing towards Angry Pie. Angry didn't even look at her, just bucked her in the face, sending Pinkimina flying.
I'll get to you in a second. Why are you whining so much? This is what you wanted, right?
Rocky snarled and rammed into Angry Pie's side, knocking her off balance, while Madame the Flower took to the air and Sir Lancelot charged with his horn. Angry Pie dodged to the side, then onto Lancelot's back, using him as a springboard to get to the flower. The Pegasus wasn't able to dodge in time to avoid Angry Pie grabbing one of her wings, breaking it and sending her crashing to the ground. Rocky stomped his hoof and snorted at Angry Pie, but directed his words towards Pinkimina. Run.
I can't just leave you.
We're just figments. You can't let her hurt the others. Just go! Pinkimina blinked away tears, then turned and fled, leaving her oldest living friends to face the monster alone. She sprinted towards the main house and burst open the door, crying out,
Both of you run, now!
The 2 forms inside the house shifted, waking from a slumber that wasn't quite as dreamless as Pinkimina and her friends. One looked a lot like Pinkimina, but with Pinkie's brighter colors. She had a soft scarf around her neck, and a polished quartz crystal for a key mark. The other had a darker pink coat than the others, but a paler mane, more curled than poofy. They didn't need to be told what was happening. They were all Pinkie Pie, after all.
Diane, Pinks, you need to get out of here. I can't pass through the barrier, but maybe you can. She might not risk coming after you if you're with Pinkie Pie.
But what about you? She's made out of all the things I was made to absorb. I'll be fine.
None of you will be fine.
They all turned to see Angry Pie storm through the doorway, her face littered with horseshoe-shaped bruises. Behind her, she dragged the bloodied and unmoving form of Rocky. She made sure every pony in the room got a good look at him before stomping through his throat, vaporizing him, and eagerly inhaling the ash. Now that the appetizers are done with, it's time for the main course. She looked at Diana and Pinks hungrily. Diana didn't waste a second, grabbing Pinks by the hoof and pulling them both towards the back door. Angry Pie took a step forward and immediately got a headbutt from Pinkimina.
Crossing over to this side was a big mistake. You need to come home and stop this insanity. Rocky and the others are my friends. Oh, but didn't you hear? Insanity is what Pinkie Pie does best!
The two earth ponies reared up and wrestled with their forehooves, each trying to knock the other down, aiming to kill.
No! Ponies say we're random, more spontaneous. That isn't a bad thing. It's the fact that we're split between the absolutes and extremes that's wrong. Why are you trying to stop me? I thought you wanted us to be complete. I want us united, not devoured. Oh, come on. You know one of us has to be control. And I refuse to go back to being a shadow for a light who won't even face reality. That isn't how it has to work. Just shut up already!
Angry Pie got a good punch in Pinkie Mina's eye, sending her reeling.
You made a mistake sending those two off where you can't protect them.
When Pinkie Mina finally recovered enough to see again, she opened her eyes to Angry Pie's tail far in the distance, almost at the barrier. Her hastily thrown together plan to protect the most vital parts of Pinkie's psyche falling apart at the seams. She had no choice but to follow. Pinkie Pie rammed her head into the barrier for the dozenth time, and got a dozenth headache for her troubles. Maybe she should try using the party tables around her as battering rams again? She looked up to see two versions of herself coming out to the divider, though she only actually recognized one. The barrier wasn't solid for them like it was for Pinkie and Pinkie Mina, nor was it vapor-like for Angry Pie. They moved through it slowly, like it was molasses. The moment one of their hooves made it through, Pinkie grabbed onto it and pulled to get them through quicker. Danger gone for the moment, Pinkie lifted them over. The oddly colored version she recognized with a pang, though she was surprised those memories were able to manifest like that. The straight-maned version, however.
Sorry, but who are you?
Dan spoke in a soft tone that reminded Pinkie of her mother, with none of the hyperactivity Pinkie was so known for. I don't blame you for not recognizing me, she said honestly. It's been so long. I couldn't stand us leaving home, but you told me to be quiet, so I went to sleep. I'm the love you have for your home, and your family, and this is the first time we've talked since we left them. She smiled sadly. Pinkie Pie was stunned. Had she really broken away that part of herself? Had she really buried those emotions? Had she wanted to be free of that dark, gray, soulless, miserable place that badly? Yeah, she had. But did it have to mean discarding that part of herself altogether? Pinkie felt horrid. Angry Pie's voice rang out from behind them.
She stabbed you in the back, Diane. Now you run to her for protection? I guess you aren't Pinkie's brains.
They turned just in time to see her leap impossibly high, crashing down upon the three Pinkies. Dust was sent up everywhere. Pinkie Pie coughed and sputtered, waving the dust away just in time to see Pink struggling in Angry's grip, slowly being pushed inside her, as though Angry Pie were cake batter and Pink's a cherry. The terrified tears streaming down Pink's face looked so wrong.
Let her go!
Diane screamed before Pinkie could react, grabbing onto one of Pink's forelegs and pulling desperately. She was only able to slow it down. Soon enough, she too was being pulled into Angry Pie.
Pinkie Pie!
Pinkie Mina called. She was hammering away at the barrier with her hooves just as Pinkie had moments earlier, to the same effect. Pinkie looked at her, then looked at the parts of herself slowly sinking into her anger. She rose to her hooves and took a step toward them.
You can't save them like that!
Pinkie Mina cried. There wasn't the barest hint of deception in her voice.
Please, take me back!
Pinkie shot her another look, terrified.
No, I can't.
Pinkie Mina's lip quivered.
I know how scared you are of getting hurt, better than anyone. I know you're scared to face the struggles of reality, instead of just enjoying every moment to its fullest. But letting yourself get hurt sometimes is what it means to be alive, Pinkie. I don't want to forget how to laugh, Pinkie shouted.
The heavens themselves thundered. Pinkie Mina grit her teeth and focused hard, using what little power she had there to slow time. This all needed to be said.
Pinkie Pie, Discord broke you not just by lying to you about your friends, but by making you think your greatest fear was true. That you mean nothing to the only real friends you've made. But he also rubbed in our muzzle that laughter can be cruel, that laughter can be hurtful, that some ponies only think a joke is funny when some pony else cries. And whether we like it or not, those were a type of laughter too. And you didn't want to accept it, but you couldn't just shove it off either. You spent 3 whole weeks going without sleep just to avoid thinking about it.
And for the first time in her entire existence, Pinkie Mina laughed. Small, barely a half breath, but sincere. When you stop and think about it, it makes sense. It'd be kinda silly that the elements need to bond with the pony to work properly, unless they need that pony's heart to guide them, to show them the difference between laughter that brings ponies together and laughter that tears them apart. But how can you really know what it's like to laugh? You don't cry sometimes too. She couldn't hold it anymore. Time resumed at a normal pace. Only a few moments more, and both Pinks and Diane would be absorbed completely. Pinkie breathed in deep. She walked forward. She lay a hoof on the glass wall. A million cracks spread across its surface. In an instant, the barrier shattered into starlight. The world shook. Angry Pie, Pinks, and Diane all turned to look at the spectacle, at the destruction of the barrier that had been there longer than any of them. For the first time since her birth, Pinkamina's hoof met Pinkie Pie's. The explosion was blinding, a sphere of white light that roared and sang all at once, then folded in on itself, becoming a black hole. Angry Pie raised her hooves, and Diane tightened her grip on Pink's. But where Diane's strength had failed, this force didn't, pulling both ponies from Angry Pie and onto the floor below. Diane nuzzled the tears off the crying Pink's face. The implosion inverted again, then broke apart. White Pegasus soared out of the impact point, blonde curls dancing in invisible wind. She laughed delightedly.
Surprise!
Oh, Angry Pie gasped.
Now, Surprise chided cheerfully. Don't be sad. It's time to come home now. I don't want to die,
Angry Pie growled, pulling a flamethrower from nowhere and pointing it at the Pegasus. The flames died before they could reach her. Surprise giggled and shook her head.
Silly filly, we're not dying, and you won't vanish either. We're just becoming whole.
Angry Pie pulled a grenade from her hair and removed the pin with her mouth, throwing it at Surprise and watching the mushroom cloud puff up around her.
That was a cool bang, but for fireworks they were kinda lame.
Angry yelped and turned to see Surprise and the other two standing behind her, completely unharmed.
How the hell? Silly Angry, Surprise chirped. Anything's possible in my own head. We're all just ideas here.
Diane laughed and hugged Pink's tighter. It's okay, we're okay. We're all going to be well soon.
There's nothing about me that needs to be made well.
Surprise fluttered right up to her, suddenly the size of an alicorn, and smiled at her. Then you won't mind a feel better kiss, right? Angry Pie stepped back, only to stumble on a mass of marbles that had sprouted from nowhere, sending her crashing to the ground.
Surprise!
The Pegasus giggled. She trotted up to Angry Pie and gently kissed her on the forehead. Both were enveloped in white light, and when it faded, Surprise stood alone, now with shadows lining her feathers that hadn't been there before. She sighed and looked at Diane and Pink's.
You guys ready?
I've been ready since we left home. Pink said nothing. She didn't have the voice to say anything, but her smile was answer enough. Surprise nodded eagerly.
Alright then, here we go! Let the grand Pinkamina Diane Pie unification commence!
Trumpets blared and confetti rained from the heavens. Pinks, Diane, and Surprise embraced each other, and the world became light. Pinkie Pie opened her eyes, instinctively looked around for any Angry Pie pans, and slowly sat up in bed.
Oh, you're awake!
Pinkie turned to see Fluttershy curled up on the sofa across from her bed, wrapped in a blanket the case had loaned her. Fluttershy immediately dropped the book she was reading and rushed to hug her. Pinkie happily hugged her back.
Yeah, for a quick nap that really helped me out.
Fluttershy's ears flattened in awkward embarrassment. Pinkie Pie? You've been asleep for almost 4 days now. Mr. and Mrs. Cake were just asking about ways to feed you in your sleep. Pinkie Pie broke the hug, surprised. 4 days? Feels like a lot less. Well, you did kind of push yourself really hard. Before she left, Twilight said she'd been worried you were going to, fall over if you kept going like that. I already said she wouldn't be surprised if you'd been out for a full week.
Huh, maybe I should take another nap then,
Pinkie Pie suggested, completely serious. Fluttershy waved her hooves.
Oh, no, it's alright. I know everybody's going to be happy to see you awake again. Though, maybe you should take it a little easy at first, just until you get your strength back.
Oh, okay. I'm hungry. Want waffles? Maybe a little later. Pinkie glanced around the room and finally noticed what Fluttershy had been reading. You were looking through my old photo albums? Fluttershy flinched like she'd been caught reading Play Cold magazines. Oh, yes. I was only supposed to look after you for a few hours, but I thought the Cakes might like a little more time to recover from your parties, and I found those and thought I ought to share them with a filly I know. She doesn't have anyone else, so I'm looking after her for now. She's being very stubborn about letting other ponies in, but I think some advice from Merity and Cheerilee has helped. She sounds like she could use a party to get her to see what it's like for other ponies to be nice to her. When can I meet her? After you're back up to 100%, she can be very taxing. Pinkie let out a giggle at the words 100%, given what had happened while she slept. Fluttershy didn't notice, too busy hitting the twitch of someone else's smirk behind her hoof.
Hey, Fluttershy?
Yes, Pinkie Pie?
I want to say I'm sorry for making you all worry about me. That isn't what friends are supposed to do. They're supposed to be there for each other, like you were for me. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner.
She tried to climb out of bed and nearly stumbled on weary hooves. Fluttershy caught her easily. Using Fluttershy as a crutch, Pinkie Pie made her way to the nearby window, taking a seat on its sill and pushing it open. She breathed in the fresh scent of morning. Ponies bustled in the town below her, looking the same as always despite the lingering scars left by discord.
It's beautiful, isn't it, Fluttershy?
Pinkie whispered, the softest Fluttershy had ever heard her.
I know fun and games aren't the only thing we need to heal, but I'm still sure they can help. I think what most of them need is someone who's willing to listen and help laugh away their fears. Guess Applejack was on the right track.
Fluttershy listened to Pinkie, trying to hide her surprise. Was this really Pinkie Pie? She looked like Pinkie Pie, sounded like her, it even smelled as sugary sweet as her. But she seemed more centered, more focused. Like before she'd just been a pony-shaped balloon, only touching the ground for brief moments before bouncing back up again. and now she finally had the weight to walk the earth with the rest of the world. It reminded Fluttershy of how Applejack had been acting since her visit to Canterlot, and how Rarity had been acting since her solo expedition to Diamond Dog territory. And she realized with a shock, like how she'd been acting since she agreed to take care of Fluttercurl. I haven't noticed any difference, Fluttercurl snarked in her head. Well, of course you wouldn't, but you've reminded me that those who deserve happiness the least are usually the ones who need it the most. That's dumb. I'm sure you think so, dear. But either way, you've been helping me in your own way, even if you don't want to admit it. Fluttercurl's response, which was sure to be so cleverly scathing as to tear poor Fluttershy's heart to shreds if only she had the time to formulate it, was cut off by the sound of Pinkie Pie's singing, soft and wistful.
How Equestria began, what the future holds. When new fools fall in love, what happens to our souls? Clues to life's mysteries are what we hope to find. How he's reaching for a reason, searching for a sign. To know the unknown doesn't mean that much to me. To know the unknown, some secrets are just meant to be. Don't want all the answers, 'cause one thing is true. As long as my heart beats, I'll always love you. So I don't need to know the unknown.
Can't you clobber her to make her stop? No, I think Pinkie needs this. It's a song sung from the heart, instead of to it. Fluttershy couldn't help but notice how different this wistful song was from Pinkie's usual fare, upbeat and a little manic. But somehow, this song suited her too. It took Pinkie longer than she'd have liked to remember the address to her family's rock farm, but when it did, the memory stuck there, as if it had simply been locked away somewhere tight. It had been too long since she last wrote to them.
To know the unknown doesn't mean that much to me. To know the unknown, some secrets are just meant to be. Don't need all the answers, 'cause one thing is true. As long as the earth turns, I'll always love you.
Pinkie Pie got a big hug from her foster family when she finally managed to get downstairs, and she let herself cry. Not a brief gush of tears that soaked the room before she bounced right back to normal, but a proper cry, long and relieving. And when she finally dried her eyes, it was as though a weight had been lifted. Pinkie felt like there had been a blind spot somewhere inside her, and now it was gone. She could finally see clearly again. She was a whole pony, complete at last, and able to guide the element of laughter to her fullest ascent.
Sorry I never told you just why I went away. Now that I've come back, there's so much more to say. All you really need to know is that I'm here to stay. To know the unknown, it doesn't mean that much to me. To know the unknown, some secrets are just meant to be. Don't need all the answers, 'cause one thing is true. As long as the earth turns, I'll always love you. To know the unknown, it doesn't mean that much to me. To know the unknown, some secrets are just meant to be. Don't need all the answers, 'cause one thing is true. As long as the earth turns, I'll always love you. So I don't need to know the unknown.
What more was there to say? She was free. Tom and Tiara didn't know why she kept coming up with excuses to go see Rarity Belle again. She had what she wanted from her, and their business was concluded. The more she continued to visit, the more likely it was that her father would realize why she went there in the first place. She told herself that Miss Rarity was willing to teach her how to sew properly for free, and it would be foolish to squander the opportunity. Sure, a high-class pony such as herself would never actually need to learn how to sew, but her mother had enjoyed the gift, and it would be annoying to have her hose and muzzle covered in needle pokes again should she choose to produce another gift of the same sort. Yes, that was why. She certainly wasn't enjoying Miss Rarity's company. The very idea that the unicorn reminded her of her mother before the doctors took her away was absurd. At least Miss Rarity was kind enough to arrange their meeting times around that blank flank she called a sister, so Diamond wouldn't have to face her and risk her learning of this humiliating endeavor. Or worse, let the excursions leak to her father. Though visiting Miss Rarity did make her brain feel funny. A strange swimming sensation in her chest that rushed all the way to her brain, making her question herself, which scared her. But she was a high-class pony. Surely she'd have the whole sewing thing down pat soon enough, and she wouldn't have to endure these annoyingly pleasant afternoons any longer. So she continued going, even when the brown and gray stallion in her dreams kept insisting that visiting the unicorn was a bad thing, that it would damage her somehow. Not that she was ignoring his offer entirely. You've laughed at the expense of others. You've lied to both your parents. You've been vicious to those you see as beneath you. You'd sooner die than share what is yours. You've abandoned and betrayed your only friend. You want your mother back to normal, yes? Then betray Rarity Belle, undo the lock, open the door, and accept my majesty. And Diamond Tiara pathetically struggled to understand why she had not yet done so.